person talking about love, thine brother is the preacher. And it seems nobody's interested in learning but the teacher.
Hey, Chalk Talkers, welcome back. This week we're going to be talking about records, whether it be personal records, old-time records, state records, eating records, whatever it may be. We're going to talk about those. First though, let's do a little recap. What's going on with you guys this week?
That's actually none of your business.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Jaron, anything fun?
I'm under court instruction not to speak about it.
Because your guys' lives are so secret, so important. Well, we got some upcoming events that we want to talk about.
I'm not going to try any harder than that, I guess. It's like they said no, okay, let's move on.
Over it.
You're a bad solicitor.
He benched 600 in the slinger yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost fell off the bench with 560.
It was alright looking. I'm just,
Yeah.
Have you tried putting your legs on the ground?
No, I'm going to try that next week.
You should ask. I'm pretty sure somebody on the internet suggested that once.
Yeah, I was going to try using leg drive and squatting the same day. Try to activate my quads by squatting.
Are you on the squatted everyday program like everybody else right now?
5x5s.
5x5s every day?
Yep.
Alright, cool. I pulled 500 for 10 on Saturday. That was fun.
So you drop
Oh yeah, and then I fell over.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, just because of scheduling. I ended up like squatting, deadlifting 2 days later, and then, or like 3 days later or something, and then deadlifting the like 2 days after that, and then squatting the day after that. I don't really recommend it.
Yeah.
But it all went pretty well. I squatted less than he benched for a set of 5, which was good for me. And then it was getting down to like the third movement, and I just fell over like twice.
But I did think it was funny though too that the same day you posted that one, Jeff put up one where he was squatting like more weight and did like just these easy reps through. I don't know if you saw that. It was for me as I'm.
Oh yeah, he's hitting with the camera bar, just like down and up.
Yeah,
down and up.
no,
I was like, "There's Jaron dropping one plate."
He got kind of fired up these last couple weeks with his training. He kind of felt like his training was, I don't know, stagnant a little bit, so he's been mixing it up and going a little bit heavier. So
I was like, you can tell by the Facebook post he's doing a lot more. So good for him. Hopefully we'll have him in here one of these days and see how he's been doing. So upcoming events, let's get back to those real fast. We got the Reebok event is coming up. That's the record
7th.
breaker, right?
Yeah, it's coming up in November
2nd or 7th? Or
7th.
Okay, 7th. I'm sorry.
That's none of your business what day it is.
Also can't discuss that either.
All right.
One quick thing about that, I was just informed that Kevin Oak got hurt, so he won't be lifting in that. So hopefully he heals up fast and gets back to training.
Yeah, sounds from what I saw, he's working his way up to be like a full 242, which he already kind of walks around at like a 242. But he was doing pretty big weight cuts down to 220, so he's going to be getting up probably 260 or so. So he's working on growing into that weight class. I think he had said he was going to make the Reebok meet be his last at 220, but now that he's injured, he's just going to pull the plug on it. Yeah.
Sure. What else we got? We got a Dornbecker event coming up.
Yep. That's coming up. That'll be the second weekend of December. I want to say it's the 12th. I'm really busy. I haven't posted the details for that. That will be out next week, or by like the day that this episode is aired. The details for that should be out.
I think you said that last week.
I did. I've had a week, but we're not talking about it.
December 5th, the USPA is holding a competition at that Newport, Oregon.
The Hallmark.
Yeah, I really like that hotel. It's a super nice hotel. I always stay in this room that's got like a big hot tub in it. And so you open up this sliding glass window and you could like look at the ocean and you get a breeze in there and it's kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice hotel.
So you're saying we could have hot tubbed that one time instead of just going home?
Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
You gotta ask around. You gotta learn these things.
He's like, you should just stay with us. You never said you should come sit in the hot tub.
Well,
Hold on though, that would be like the big selling point.
yeah. So stay up till 6 in the morning driving, or sleep on a couch, and have a hot tub. But the hot tub really wasn't out of the. I don't know.
Say.
It probably worked out better because I just got drunk and Went back to the hotel, and I think I passed out in the hot tub.
I'm sure too.
I could have done that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would have been fondled if you would have done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That might be okay. Then we also have the skip leg day event.
Yep.
When's that one?
January 9th.
All right.
And it's kind of tentatively planned right now. I have some things in the works. More likely than not, it'll be the 9th, but it might be the next weekend. It'll be, for sure, November 1st. It'll be decided what day it is.
I need to put on a skip bench day meet. Nobody's doing that.
Nobody would do that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would.
Mediocre lifters.
Probably. That would be awesome, because we have push-pull, which is just skipping squats, and he's skipping everything and just benching. I need to come up with a skip bench day
That's your
meet.
next one.
It would be the only squat pull event.
You could do like squat and
That's going to knock 200 pounds off my total.
Like you and five
squat
other
and
people.
lunges. Lunges for reps.
Oh, God.
Real quick, we're gonna do some sports talk. Some of the sports ball.
Before we sports ball,
Oh, what'd I miss?
well, Joshua, this week in powerlifting, Richard Hawthorne pulled 4.53 times his body weight. It was 630,
I don't know.
630, 650. He's a 132.
He's a hell of a puller. Sponsored by Animal, and I think he competed at the Night of the Living Dead competition, which is a pretty big deadlifting competition every year. Yeah, and he pulled 4.53 times his body weight, which is just insane. He's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, he's crazy. He's just a strong-ass dude.
Yeah, he's probably technique-wise one of the most technically proficient pullers that I've ever watched. I learned a lot from watching him.
Do you think that's part of why his weight is so high as well too? Is because his technique?
Oh, absolutely. His technique's perfect. He's, very meticulous with bracing and getting tight, and he always maintains good leverage. That's kind of his biggest thing is get tight, learn how to pressurize, and learn how to pull in a way that gives you the maximum amount of leverage. So otherwise, I mean, if you're not efficient with what you're doing, you're not going to pull close to 5 times your body weight, or 600 plus pounds at that small of a weight.
Sure.
He's not a big guy. He's in the 130s.
Yeah, that's
He's a tiny fella.
ridiculous.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. Chris Duffin squatted 900 for almost 2.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The
there
first one was real fast too.
Yeah, there was some deals as far as him just being worn out. He was pretty fatigued. He thinks he can get it fairly easily, but just shot for the 1, and yeah, it looked good. Super strong.
That's so much weight. How much did you do when you fell? Sorry, I had
901.
What the
Coming for you.
With collars. And then Mark Bell recently just benched 575
Yeah,
and
I
made
saw
it
that
look
too.
like it was,
Yeah, it was smooth.
just a bar. It was unbelievable.
That was smoother than when he doubled the 550.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's weird is, you look at the video, when he's bringing the bar down, you're almost like, oh shit, this is not going to go good. Because he looks like he's unstable, and it's almost a free fall. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of pauses, and then it just goes right up. It's like, oh my gosh. He makes the descent look so scary, like there's no way he's going to get it, and then just kills it.
Well, he's just so fast and efficient with the down part of the motion.
Yeah. Cheater.
Leg user.
All right, let's get to round ball.
All right, round ball. So one thing that's going on right now, we have the World Series is going on. I know most of the time when we talk sports, it's either basketball or football, but there is a little baseball going on. We have the Royals, Kansas City Royals against the New York Mets. As of today, it's the Royals are up 2-0, best of a 7-game series. First game, though, I got to talk about real quick it was impressive watching. It was 14 innings, 5.5 hours long, second longest game in World Series history. Kind of shows how even these two teams are. Now, saying that, the second game it was like 7-1, so maybe that didn't show the evenness. But it's going to be a great series. It's two teams where they're just, the Mets have the best arms in the league, the Royals have the best bats in the league, and we're watching them go at it. It was fun. First game was great. I was super excited. Second game, Not so much since I am a Mets fan, but I did like as we came in to talk about it. Adrian's like, "Oh man, those Royals, that's awesome," and not even looking up at the hat. You're like, "Oh yeah."
Thanks.
I'm just not a very big fan of New York teams because of the Yankees. The Yankees put a really bad taste in my mouth with the way that they've kind of handled themselves over the last decade or two, with just forking out all this money to get all this talent to stack their teams, and then even years that they did that and not do well.
Right.
I don't know. I really dislike New York teams for that reason.
Well, the Mets are a little different. They didn't quite get built up that way.
Yeah,
They're
no, and I know.
scrappy guys that they've put together.
I am happy for the Royals for making it. Just kind of a small team that doesn't attract a lot of big free agents. You know, there's not a big drive to bring big talent in there. So I'm happy that a small market team can do that.
Right. And you know, it's good too for just the city itself. The amount of money that they're going to be bringing in is going to be huge for the city. Hotel revenue, restaurant revenue, ticket sales, merchandise, all that different stuff. It's nice to see those small market teams make that money because then maybe it'll let some of the New York franchises or the other, you know, the Dodgers realize, oh, we can make more money as a franchise itself if we don't spend as much money on our players and go out and look for just the raw, solid talent, not a big name who wants a ton of money.
Play money ball.
Right. And if
They
they
should
do that,
recruit them with hookers.
well, that's how they get into the colleges. But once you get to the pros, you got to step your game up. The other thing, NBA season started off last night.
Aldridge lost.
Aldridge lost. All right.
Did you watch any of that game?
No, I didn't.
Fourth quarter, he fell apart.
Really?
He probably had 4 turnovers in the last 4 or 5 minutes in a clutch game where it was like it was tied. You know, the last 6 minutes of the game. Yeah, real 4 key possessions, maybe 5, where he fumbled the ball, missed some opportunities.
It's because he's missing that Portland rain. See, you
Yeah.
got that Texas heat.
Well,
He's
he
like,
didn't
oh.
touch the ball 80 times before the fourth quarter, which is a big difference, you know. There were a lot of plays where he would run up and not be a part of the offense. And
Portland, that was unheard of.
yeah, so I mean, it's a really big difference for him. There was a couple of plays where they posted up Tim Duncan, and he actually just stood at the top of the key at the 3-point line and was just basically just standing there. It's like, gosh, you'd have been in Portland, you would have had 35 points and 15 rebounds last night.
Right. Well, yeah, but so Portland got carried without Aldridge. C.J. McCollum really stepped his game up.
Dirty 7.
Man, that is, I don't know, everyone was talking about him being the backup point guard. You know, is he going to finally, he gets his chance now to play. Is this going to work for him? And last night he showed it could. I don't expect him to get, well, he had like 28 shots. I don't expect him to get that every week. But it is nice to know that there is somebody who can take some of that flack off of Lillard. And then another big one was Al-Farouq Aminu. Really showed his defense. He was solid, led the team in blocks. Yeah, not a huge offensive threat, but he plays that defense so well. I think Portland's going to do all right. Yeah, not great. Not great.
Be a little bit different than I think people expected.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody expected them to just get trampled over. And I think what the guys showed last night was they're not just going to lay down and let teams beat them. That they're going to compete, and there's games they're going to lose, but they're going to at least compete. And the nights that we shoot like that, man, we'll win.
And they seem like a team.
Yeah.
You know, we saw the photos throughout the year, through the off season, on Facebook and Instagram and all that of them working together. But I mean, you could see it on the court. They like each other. They're trying to work hard for each other, not just for themselves. Which, you know, for some, it's been a while now. Portland, we're kind of getting back into that. We've had a lot of players before where that wasn't the case. They were looking out for number one. You know, as we saw as our team fell apart this last offseason, you know, obviously some players were looking out for themselves more than anything else, and now we're rebuilding, but I think we're going to do all right.
Yeah,
So,
I'm happy.
I think for a fun year. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about records. For records, we're going to be talking about whether it be all-time, state, personal, in lifting, in other sports as well. We'll tie everything in, but we want to kind of start off with all-time records. So, Jaron, what would you say? Why do we have these? What's the importance of having an all-time record?
I'd say the importance of having all-time records is it gives some perspective for the people in the sport as to like what the upper echelon of what people are capable of doing is. And for people that aren't involved in it, it kind of gives them some legitimacy and lets them really just understand what's being done, which I think part of that gets misconstrued with all the different federations that we have. But at least with the all-time records, that's the best version of culminating all of that we have. There's still lots of weight classes. There's still tested versus non, and all that kind of muddies things up a little bit. But that's probably the closest thing we have to legitimate records are those all-time ones.
My thought of comparing those to like other sports, or like baseball records, would be, yes, there's the home run record, then there's the hits record, there's the batting average record, and they all kind of have their own importance, but in their own different ways. That's kind of the way I would look at the different federations and those kind of things, where they all have their own very much important, just in a different way. Whether it be, this person got to use wraps, this person didn't, this was raw, this was tested.
Raw, classic raw.
Wraps raw, not wraps raw, 2 meter wraps raw, 2.5 meter wraps raw, 3 wraps raw.
Pound plates, raw.
Kilo plates, locking collars raw. Greco-Roman raw.
So stupid.
Loose fitting singlet raw.
Is there one of those?
My mom washed my singlet raw.
Would there be an all-time record that you guys can think of that would be like, it's kind of it's a dubious honor? So like in baseball, to have the AAA home run record is not a great thing. You hit the most home runs in AAA, but you played in AAA the whole time.
It's called multiply.
Right,
Yeah, multiply records. Yeah, that's what that's called. Yeah, that's like the AAA.
So that's what I'm gonna work for. I'm gonna
Please tell me, can you just like procure a squat suit? Just find one, and we can have. We should do an episode with Josh and gear.
We could probably turn one of my old bench press shirts into a squat suit.
We probably could.
We should make him wear a bench press shirt and squats.
That's what
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
You're gonna eat the bar.
Or we should, what we should do is we should try and film an episode with knee wraps on and see who can leave them on the longest.
Yeah. I've never put knee wraps on, so I'll probably be a bitch first.
I love how you guys are picking things that you kind of do on a regular
Knee wraps
basis.
suck. I hate wearing knee wraps. It doesn't feel good at all.
I don't know, I'm game. We got to come up with something else, too, after that. That water one was great, but I would like to kind of win some pride back.
Knee wraps.
That day was miserable. So we'll go with knee wraps on the next one.
Or we could do like singlet day.
No,
I think we can line up beers and see who can get through the most amount of beer in one episode.
Are we drinking like actual beer or like Oregon City beer?
I mean, I don't care. Shit, we drink hams if you want.
I'm game for that. I would need a driver.
Sure. Yeah.
That's don't do well with that.
I'll drive you.
Oh, great. Perfect. All right, let's get back to our all-time records real quick.
Well, I feel like that you should
covered
probably touch on that a little bit, since you were the only one out of us who has held one. So you may have an interesting perspective.
I think the all-time records have been muddied up a little bit because we don't have like one federation or a list of events that you can break all-time records. You could do them anytime. So the problem is when you break an all-time record, there's a lot of things that could play a part in it. One, maybe it's at your gym, or it's at your buddy's gym, and your buddy's a judge, and your buddy weighed you in, or you weighed yourself in. And not saying that those things happen on a regular basis, but you see that sometimes where somebody will break an all-time record, and it's, maybe at a gym they train at or a gym nearby. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that there should only be a list of events that people can break all-time records. Mm-hmm. And that might get a little confusing because I think then sometimes maybe national records or even whatever state records could be higher than the all-time record because maybe they just go compete somewhere, blast something up, and then break a record, but it doesn't count. If we had like a list of competitions, and maybe there's one each month, maybe it's that frequent, but there's a list of competitions where they say these are the competitions you can break all-time records because these judges are going to be there, and these judges are at the world level. Mm-hmm. I think that would help a ton. I think it's too much work. I don't think enough people care enough to make those kind of changes. So I think in order to keep the all-time records, as pure as possible, I think having those kind of meets where we're saying these are the guys that are going to, actually judge it and approve it. So I think the way we have it now is just anybody can break a record. It would be nice to have that when somebody broke an all-time record, you're like, it was truly done.
As legit as possible. Maybe
Yeah.
have 5 judges instead of just 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe there's video from an angle or 2.
Yep.
It seems like, I mean, we're almost like a broken record. Almost every episode we come back to, you got to get those federations figured out. I think once that gets, if that were to ever get dialed in, then doing one big competition per month, you know, in different spots across the country or across the world or whatever it is, would be really, really effective. And then to think about the amount of people then that would show up, like if there's one in Texas, you know, and that's the September meet, and the October meet is in Germany, but the August meet is somewhere else. Like so many people would flock to that. You would get the best of the best all there.
Even if we did them quarterly, like just in the U.S., right?
Sure.
They could do the same thing over in Europe and the other countries. Just do maybe 4 a year. That way, people have the option to, if they want to travel and compete internationally, then cool, do that because then those things are viable for world records. But if we did that, if we kept it to maybe fewer events, the amount of publicity you could get at each one of those would be that much better.
Right.
You don't see the Olympics happening every month.
Right.
It's not like I can just challenge you to a water polo off
Right.
at the drop of a hat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. I was thinking of a...
You thought you were just picking any generic
Damn it.
Why
sport.
don't you stick with horseshoes?
Yes, is that in the Olympics?
Probably.
I don't know. Curling. I didn't mean that.
It's all
That
right.
was insensitive.
It's all right.
The new Chalk Talk is nicer and friendlier. I want to offer an apology.
So let's get away from all time. Then let's go for state records. I mean, are state records, are those important? Do those matter? So I'm gonna look at Adrian over there because I know you've had a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How
I have
important are
a
those
whole binder full of state records, right, where they just mail you the certificate. Here's the cool thing. When you first start off and you get something like that, it kind of validates your training. You're like, cool, okay, I've done something that nobody in this state has done, or at least hasn't competed in that one federation and done.
Okay.
Here's the problem with state records. Typically for people, they'll look at state records for a competition and go, I'm going to compete at this competition because I'm going to break a state record. That doesn't mean anything. It should be about your personal progress first. Then if you happen to break a state record, you break a state record. My suggestion is you go and compete without looking at those records. Go get through your numbers based on your training program, and then when you're all done, pull up the state records and see what you've broken. A lot of people will, plug their attempts in based around these records that are completely meaningless. They mean nothing. Everybody has a state record. So if they just competed as if they normally would, if the state record was 1,000,000 pounds, but they just competed to get their personal best, and then they broke a state record, then that's great.
I believe that at your guys' meet from whatever a month back, I couldn't name names because I don't remember people's names very well, but it was one of those, there were a couple of lifts where the last ones were going for state records, and you kind of look at them like, why? Like, why are you jumping up to this random weight that doesn't go in sync with the progressive steps you've made? You really didn't nail your last one, and here you are going for this. It seemed like, I guess maybe it's people like to feel the weight underneath them, but it doesn't feel like a competition is the place to do that. I'm not gonna go out and try and join just Major League Baseball and hit a 97-mile-an-hour fastball just because, well, you know what? I'm gonna give it away. I gotta see what it's like, so I'm gonna jump out there. I like the idea of looking afterwards. I think that in the training moment, as you're becoming a lifter, that's good things to see and to be able to reach. But once you guys are established, like maybe you guys are, kind of seems like the value of it goes down more and more.
Yeah, I think that's it, but I feel like that's maybe something that's really encouraging for people that are fresh into the sport, because when I think I set a state record or something at my first meet, I don't know, but I was like, holy shit,
Sure.
I'm okay at this. I don't suck as much as all the other things I suck at. So that was encouraging, and some of the people that I coach too, they get really excited about being able to take the state records, and I think it is important, but I think as you are in the sport a little bit longer, you kind of get a little bit different perspective.
Sure.
And then you realize, like, oh, this doesn't really mean shit. Like,
Yeah.
because everybody that's going to compete in Oregon is probably all from Portland, so
Right.
all you really did is beat the other 47 people at the meet.
That was one thing too I remember with Adrian's was when I kind of realized that maybe these don't matter as much was I think it was like there were like 6 or 7 meets in a row that you came back with a state record, like, yeah, I got the state record. And
Right.
you didn't care at all.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I was telling my friends, like, oh, dude, my brother's got a state record. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, he broke that again. And then, yeah, no, he broke it again. And you just kind of keep going down the line.
I would even encourage people to even look at like national records and do the exact same thing. Just train
Yeah.
for yourself and then go back and look at this stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many meets and it's, you know, you could do a competition every month if you wanted to. So focus on getting the best number possible, not chasing something and go, shit, I missed my 3rd attempt on my deadlift because I was shooting for this all-time total or the national total. Don't worry about it. Because guess what? You could compete again in a few months and then break it again. You know,
Yeah.
just focus on yourself.
And half the time, those yellow attempts you end up missing,
Yeah.
and then you know probably lost 30 pounds on what you could have had as a total had you not been too aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that ties in beautifully then to the personal records. I mean, that's where it all breaks down to then at the end. You know, why should we track our own personal records as we go? Jared?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, is what they say is what you don't track, you can't measure. And if you can't measure, then you can't decide if what you're doing is effective.
That right there is like one of those things that you see on the coaches like board, their posters that they have where they show the picture of the guy benching and then there's the quote line
What you
right
don't
up
track.
above it right there.
Well, then I'll clean it up. What you
No, that's-
you can't,
I'm
you can't
not
measure
saying
what
that
you don't
is a bad
track.
thing.
No, if I'm gonna start spitting out proverbs of wisdom,
That was nice right there.
you can't measure what you don't track. It's like I've always said. A couple of weeks ago, I decided like I wanted to start speaking in proverbs and parables and stuff, just to try it out, just to try it
Sure.
out. And so like I had this person I was teaching deadlift. So I was like, you know, you just kind of get wedge under there, you know. So you know how crowbar works? Like yeah. So you want to do is you want to wedge in there and you want to slowly apply pressure. Like okay, cool. I was like, so now I'm gonna say, remember the story of the crowbar.
God.
So I gotta start
Remember the jackhammer?
The Miyagi of powerlifting right here.
My child, remember the story of the crowbar. I don't remember what my point is.
So,
You can't measure what you don't track.
okay.
So I think the biggest thing that separates people that get into legitimate strength training and strength training programs versus your average gym goer is they have something that hopefully is logical and progressive and is scalable and trackable, right? So instead of just going in, I'm going to hit back and I'm going to hit shoulders and I'm going to hit legs and I'm going to hit this, we're tracking what weights you hit, your sets and reps, we're tracking your overall workload, we're tracking how that stuff trends out over time. And if your goal is to get stronger, if you don't pay attention to what any of those numbers are, you're never going to know if you did it.
Sure. So then what, I see on Facebook a lot of people are putting up PRs of whatever they're doing. I see PRs of tricep pull downs. And I see
Yeah, I
PRs
know. What's your
of-
16 rep? What's your 16 rep single arm rope extension tribal?
Yeah.
Tribal.
Oh, this is
cable
my
tricep extension.
5 rep, double under, whatever. Why are we tracking all these other things? I mean, are those really things we need to track?
Blame Instagram.
Instagram, is that? I kind of felt like part of that was the thing. Like, I thought I needed to go to the gym and start showing people what my calf raise was.
Calf raise PR. Are you doing them single leg or double?
Well, I'm doing double leg, but I'm
What
doing
kind of shoes are you wearing?
25 in high heels.
This is starting to sound like the girls of Instagram.
Which was
I think it's offensive, so you have to.
Sorry.
We need to delete
Sorry.
that. Here's part of the problem with.
Probably do need to delete that.
Part of the problem with people who track all this stuff and post it all the time is they're looking for that instant gratification, which we've talked about in a previous episode. But they're looking for, hey, you did a good job, and I did this, and then you see all these comments, hey, great job, nice work, whatever. People shouldn't track everything that they do, and what you said, I think is probably the best thing. You can't measure whatever you don't track it, or however you said it, Coach Wisdom here.
Remember the story of the crowbar.
But I don't want to take because that was actually a really good saying. But there's only a few things you should really track. if you're tracking your 15 rep or your 10 rep or whatever, I mean, it gets insane. I don't know. Every single day that you train, it's a different day, so there's different variables that play a part. So that's a PR, really. 560 yesterday is not a PR for me, right? But it's kind of a PR where I'm at in the stage of training that I'm at.
Sure.
So you got to kind of put everything in perspective, you know, how training is, where life is, how busy you are, you know, how long have you been taking your training seriously, those kinds of things, your dieting, all of those things play a part. So really, it's like kind of day by day. I think it's a good idea to have maybe an idea in your head of what a good PR is for you, but like getting to the spot where you're like, oh, this is a 10 rep PR for me, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It is like anytime I'm going through my Instagram and I see someone with a PR, if they're doing more than one rep, I just keep going. I don't care. All I want to see is you do one big rep. If you're going to say PR, you're going to say this is the best you can do. To me, that's you're doing one.
Well, I
You're giving
recant
it
my
the
previous
best.
statement about 500 for 10.
So I'm going to start
So,
posting
okay.
videos of 10 reps with wrist straps not tied on very tight. So it'll be loose wrist straps with slingshot, eyes closed, PR for 10.
And I'm going to watch the first rep and then I'm going to keep going.
Figure out how to delete it.
I think some of the things can be valuable though, because like if you know, I would say realistically only track your 5 rep and below.
Yeah.
Like knowing a 5 rep max and you know maybe your best triple, or you don't even need to track 4s, but you can. But like your best 5, triple, and a double are good things to know. That way when you do hit things for 10, I know at least, hey, this is at least twice as many reps as I've gotten in the past, and you can judge it as progress.
Sure.
Am I going to sit and worry about setting an 11 rep max next week? Probably not. But if I know at any point in the future, if I take that same weight and I get more than 10, that I've made progress.
Yeah, and it's a good
And
feeling
I was
to have
like,
that
cool,
progress.
and that's it.
So that might be one of those that we keep on to yourself.
Yeah.
Those type
Yeah,
of ones.
it's also like would be a good point to have everything tracked down, right? So people have these training logs and they write them down or put them online or whatever. And if you do that, then it's one thing to be able to go back and go, okay, well, 4 months ago I did 225 for 10. I did 245 for 10 today. So now I'm seeing some progress. That's a lot different than maybe somebody who's just winging it like me. I don't write my stuff down. I don't track anything. I just know when I go into the gym it was either a good workout or I didn't bring it. So yeah, I guess that would kind of play in part too.
Well, I guess then, so when would you want to start tracking? For me, like, obviously we want to track what we're doing, but when we're talking one PR, you know, this is my top bench, as a lifter, when are you going to want to start tracking that? You know, when I go into the gym, that's not something I'm going to start tracking because I'm nowhere near,
Yeah.
you know, trying to get a one-time PR. I'm still trying to get 10 reps with just the bar. So
Because you started the slinger this way.
that's a lot harder when it's back there.
I track for like the people that I coach. I start tracking usually a couple weeks in, just because I like to offer them the same perspective. And we're not going after max singles or anything like that. Like I'll track, you know, 5s, triples, and doubles, like I was just talking about, and then that kind of gives me an idea in any given situation. Like I don't sit and plan out everybody's weights. I go based on how they're looking for the day. But I also like to have that, it's up on the wall, right? So at any time I can look at the wall and say, I was like, okay, so that was their 100, that's their 100% is what's up there. Where am I at relative to that? So I can gauge how difficult this is going to be or what like percentage roughly this is of what they're capable of. It also helps give them some perspective, and also helps for newer people to see progress early on. Because when you come in and you don't know how to squat, bench, or deadlift, and it's super overwhelming, and you've got people teaching you how to do things incorrectly so they can make fun of you, then it can be really nice to know, you know, even after 1 month, hey, you know, maybe I could only bench the bar for 3. Now I'm hitting, you know, 65 pounds for 5. That's cool. It's not a ton of weight, but it's just a lot of progress in just the first 4 weeks of training. And then being able to find those things and to point them out to people that are, you know, still kind of new to lifting is really encouraging. And they like to see that progress. And that's the whole reason that, you know, we all get into this in the first place, is you'd like to see what you're capable of, push your limits, and then, you know, learn new things about yourself. If I can get somebody hooked on that in the first month, then they're going to be way more likely to stay with it instead of just feeling like they're failing for 4 weeks.
Sure.
One of the interesting things too, you talked about working within percentages. You ever run into a time where maybe a female client is, her best maybe is like 135, right? And they're at like 115 for a few reps. And then they get super discouraged because maybe they only hit it for like 2 or 3 reps. But then you look at percentage-wise, well, 115 in comparison to 135 is pretty close.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, somebody who benches 400 pounds and they're at 225, that percentage is so much different than, dealing with like a 10 or 15 pound difference.
Mm-hmm.
You ever run into people that get discouraged by that and don't really think of the percentages?
Absolutely. And it's tough to kind of explain, because then you have to be like, well, anything over 90% if you're getting more than 3 reps, like da-da-da-da, because of the Prilbin table. They don't they don't care about all of that. But yeah, I have that all the time. Like, oh, well, I'm not really feeling it today, and then this is only, I only did 25s and 10s, and I only got a few. But last week I did 135 for 1. I was like, do you understand that doing, 115 for 8 reps is way better than 135 for 1?
Yeah.
And it's perspective, and I don't think people know quite how to compare things they're doing for reps to just 1 rep maxes, which is why you have so many people that get caught up into just beating their 1 rep PR all the time. Like, oh, well, I didn't PR today. I was like, 5 pounds under your 1 rep max for set of 10 is a PR, I promise. Or, Courtney on Monday, her best meat squat is 170.
Yeah,
and she hit 135 for 25.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So I've had her do
Did she throw up?
No.
Oh, she should have.
She's almost died before. But that's kind of why I've got a lot of people doing that higher rep work, is just to disassociate them with what their current maxes are.
To get the hypertrophy.
Yeah, get the hypertrophy. So it's just kind of perspective, and not saying that we need to track her 25 rep max.
Right.
But to know that 170, 135, this for 1, this for 25, this number is no longer valid.
Sure.
Right? And if we keep doing just small jumps like that, by the time that we're back down to something we want to track, like a 5 rep max, we're going to be over 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so it's just kind of keeping that perspective and tracking enough, but not getting neurotic about it.
Right.
Or worrying about beating those numbers every single time, because it's just not going to happen after your first couple months of training.
That is one thing, I use the word neurotic. You see that just a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that can be, I don't know, if you're somebody who's following or watching, it's a little annoying. There are some spots where it's like, oh man, I don't care. Like, you just went to the gym today and you're just telling me that you did a workout, which is cool. I like to know those things, but at the same time, it really wasn't a PR, or, you're showing off on one thing.
Yeah.
Those things get annoying. Now, I do like the ones coming from your gym. I enjoy it because we get different people on almost every single one that comes through. Besides when I gotta look at your ugly mug. But when you go, with the people that you're coaching, the only ones you put up are like pretty big ones, pretty good, good lifts, but they're all different people. You scatter out throughout the team, so I don't see the same person over and over again. Those are nice.
I might try and vary it and highlight everybody, but it's not always like doing sets of 25. That's cool, but that's not doubles. It's not maxing out. That's all that footwork that has to get laid to do that.
Like, seeing that one, I'll be honest, I was sitting there thinking like, I wonder if I could just squat right now 25 times and be okay with no weight on at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, my knees hurt right now, and we're just talking about it. I don't think I could do it.
I don't squat 25 times in a week.
Right? So,
you take a shit at least 25 times a week.
Once a day. So 7 times. I squat 7
fair.
times.
I mean, it's a half-hour long shit, but it's just that one
You
time.
prorate, so.
Now, with your team, do you run
Time
into
under
people?
tension.
Full range of motion.
Do you run into people trying to compare their own personal record, their own PRs with each other? I can see through a team that happening, but I don't know if is that good?
We don't. No, that's one. You shouldn't do that. That'll drive you insane. We don't have actually really much of that at all, like within the team, because everybody's trying to encourage each other. You'll get a little bit, but we don't ever do it to motivate each other.
Sure.
Like Smiley and Gus are about the same body weight, so Gus will sit and try and show him up just to push Smiley, but nobody's really getting in pissing matches. Where I see the biggest thing is just online.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that kind of competition and training to help push each other. But for somebody to look and go, okay, I see what he's doing, and I should do more than him, or I should be doing at least that.
What
That's
was that?
not really healthy.
Out of 5. Out of 5.
Yeah, it's not. That won't help your training because again, it's all based on the day, right? You might be carb depleted because of your diet. You might not have enough water. Might not have got enough sleep. Your girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, whatever, might have yelled at you all night last night. You didn't get enough sleep. Whatever the case is. The boyfriend part.
Yeah, he's so mean.
But
Sorry.
there's so many things that play a part in it. It would not be to your best benefit to say, okay, if he does that, we're about the same body weight, and I should do it too. Again, it's one thing to have a little rivalry in a gym and push yourself, but it's another thing to just kind of secretly look over at somebody and go, no, I got to do more than that. It's the same thing as chasing state records, basically.
Right. I ran into that like playing football, except for some reason we weren't able to do it in the good way, the way of pushing each other. It was more of a fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I want his spot, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes, and I'm gonna outlift him. And it became part of the reason why I ended up playing water polo.
Still sorry.
Because some of that stuff it got really old, dealing with just the rivalries of. All right, he saw me do that on the bench, so he's going to get under there and he's going to go
That
do
guy's
it.
so natural.
And if he does it, he's going to get up in my face and be like, "Oh, look what I just did! I did it too."
Yeah.
And
So then it turned into like, man, that guy is so naturally hairless. I'm gonna shave so hard.
a lot of
I'm
awkward
so much
looks in the
faster
shower.
than him.
It was.
Yeah.
That guy. Boy, I gotta have this back hair.
I think it's good to push yourself that way, but I don't think it's healthy to do it all the time, and it's not good to gauge your performance based on somebody else.
I think comparison is just, in general, it's a dead end. It's gonna make you you're gonna make you unhappy all the time.
Yeah.
If anything, like, try and put yourself in situations where you're like not the smartest or you're not the strongest. Surround yourself by people that are better than you, so you're always.
That's
trying
what you've done.
I know. It works great. I do this intentionally. Except I'm probably smarter than you.
Well, you might be smarter than me.
Not street smarts though.
Yeah. Trick.
Trick ass bitch. What?
I can turn you out in a week.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, I lost track on that one.
Comparing yourself.
One thing I will say, when we are comparing with other lifters, to be the people that do like to talk a lot of shit with it, the one thing that I remember Adrian always said was, there's always somebody stronger.
Yeah.
There's always somebody stronger. So, yeah, I could be talking smack to a guy my same weight because I lifted more than him, but there is somebody else, the same as me,
Yeah.
who's way stronger than me. So, you kind of have to be a little careful.
Yeah, and if you just focus on doing what you're doing, like, do your thing. Stay in control of yourself, pay attention to your training. Half the time, the reason I tell people to not worry about comparing is because most of the time the people that get caught up in that get more caught up in seeing where they are relative to somebody else than on what they're actually doing. And so their training is getting kind of, 3/4 effort because all that other attention is being put on somebody else. If you took that same time and just focus on training harder and staying consistent with the things that you can control, you probably have a better chance of being as good at or better than the other person that you're watching.
It seems like that's kind of that's a life thing too, not just for the gym and records, but it's the same sort of thing at work. If you're comparing yourself with a coworker, the energy you're spending on comparing to them, you could have just done something else and passed them anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of like how lions, they don't concern themselves with the opinion of the sheep.
Oh my God.
Somebody should make that into a motivational picture.
I was getting ready for you to drop some knowledge bomb right there. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, like lions just out there. Like, when's the last time you saw lions and sheep sitting around in the first place? Like, maybe an antelope.
Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. That's so stupid.
Wait, what lion is in
I
Charlotte?
don't know.
No,
I don't know. It might have been a horse. I don't know.
You're thinking the lion and the lamb, but like other than that, you don't see lions and sheep.
No, they don't. They don't.
Like gazelles, those should be like lions.
Wolfpack.
No, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of gazelles
Oh my God.
or the occasional giraffe.
It's so crazy.
Fuck you, hyena.
We gotta make a video of like talking about lions and sheeps and bears and.
I feel like sayings like that were more relevant when like you actually saw sheep. Like when people owned sheep and they had, but like you don't see those very much today. Except for like now maybe when I drive out to my parents' house way out in the boonies.
Yeah, but even if
there's
you're visiting
a person with sheep.
Even if you're visiting your sheep, when's the last time you saw a freaking lion in bumfuck Oregon.
And the crazy thing is, and this is kind of off the topic, but people that live that type of lifestyle, what we're trying to portray here, they do it without talking about it. Like, they don't have to say, I'm a sheep lion or herder cattle or whatever they say, right? Those are the people that are trying to pretend to be that person.
You don't see the lion reminding the sheep that he doesn't compare others.
I'm the lion and you're the sheep, stupid. Rawr. It's just, it's stupid. So you hear people say that, and it's, there's a reason why.
That's what, when you say that, one of the guys I think of is Mark Bell. And I'm not just throwing out a shameless plug, but the way he conducts himself in that, he's huge. Again, we said 5'75", but looking at his Instagram, looking at the stuff he puts up, you don't get that attitude from him. He's not on a message board telling somebody to go suck it.
Yeah.
Because he
handles himself like that in his professional and personal life. It's very much like that of, he knows he's the strongest in his gym. He knows that he's the alpha of his gym and of his home or whatever, but he never goes around and reminds you.
Right.
He just goes about his day, helps everybody out equally, and that says a lot about somebody, because it's tough to do.
Well, I think that's why he's where he's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, so that's what we got about records today. That was pretty good. Did you guys hear that voice crack for a second?
Hey, John Tuckers.
There you go. How's it going?
I can't wait for my voice to stop.
One of the things I'd like to touch on when we were talking about state records and people chasing state records, just real quick, is that I think if you're looking at doing competitions, is to remember, don't look at state records, but also where your money goes is who you're standing up for, right? So if you pay to compete in 9 different federations just within your area, then you're condoning all of those, right? So your voice is your money. So if you think that there's issues, or you don't like specific rules, or you don't like the way things are done, when you give that person money, then you're saying you like what they're doing. So use that as your kind of tool to help kind of change the direction of powerlifting and where it's going.
So we can weed out some of these federations, these sheeps.
Sheepers.
Sheeps. What a bunch of sheeps.
Have you ever seen a Nutria?
Yeah. Hold on, though. You got to tell your Nutria story. Because
Oh my
I've
God.
told your Nutria story to people.
So,
because it's amazing.
they look kind of like...
It looks like a beaver and a rat with duck feet and a long ass tail.
It's huge.
And it's huge. I mean,
How big
they're
are
like
they?
this big. I mean, they're probably like 30 pounds, 20 pounds maybe.
Oh.
So
I'm going to pull up a picture.
about like 6 years ago, I'm at a park and I'm feeding the ducks with my daughter. I'm holding my daughter, right? And she's just a baby. And I'm feeding the ducks, and all of a sudden this bush starts moving around, and here comes this nutrient. I think I'm in a park with kids and moms and shit. There's
Looks
stuff
like a
going
beaver.
on. Yeah, it's disgusting.
How is this not a beaver?
But the teeth, it has like big rat teeth, and they're
Beavers
like
have
red.
beaver teeth.
Oh, look at that! See that shit? That's not normal.
Oh.
If you haven't seen a nutria, you need to pull this up.
Google it.
So this thing starts waddling towards me, right?
Oh, that's creepy.
And it's got red teeth sticking out, and it's making some noises, so I toss some bread at it, and it just keeps going, like it doesn't want the bread. At the time, I happen to have my gun on me, and I go to put my hand on my gun, because I'm thinking I'm going to have to blow this thing away. Like, it's going to eat me if I don't, right? I'm sitting there holding my daughter, I got my hand on my gun, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God. It gets up on its hind feet and does some noise, so I take a step back, boom, smack it right in the face with my foot. These parents looked at me in such disgust. They're shaking their heads, they're so mad, some of them left, and this thing kind of scurries off, and I'm like, oh my God. I found this...
I saved you all!
I found this mutant off of the Ninja Turtle movie or something. Like, this is a science project gone bad. My heart rate's going, so I call my buddy up, and I'm like, man, you'll never believe this. There's this duck-foot, beaver-looking thing that was chasing me, and I beat its ass. He's like, yeah, it's a nutrient. It's no big deal. Oh, man. You know how bad that would have been if I would have shot it?
Oh, dude.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you guys.
There would be a big group of people that would understand why you did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the parents of the park wouldn't really have appreciated that.
No.
But my thing is, to those parents, switch positions. If you're standing there, the fact that you didn't run screaming says you did better than me. Because at that point, I'm going to be just booking it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not the fastest runner, right? And I saw this thing coming at me. The last thing I want is it nibbling on me from behind as I'm trying to run. Like, I'd rather just stay and fight. You know what I mean? I have a better chance that than taking off running. And my daughter's like 3 months old, right? We're not talking, she's not old enough to walk on her own. I'm holding her, and I mean, what a train wreck.
Drop kick master shredder.
Oh, I still remember when he called me up like the day after or something. He's like, dude, do you know what a Nutria is? It's like, no. I'm like, oh, dude, look it up, and then I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, my face hurts.
Yeah, it's been killing me all day. Let's see, we got any plugs you guys want to throw out there? We got a new lift rescue hit up the internet, hit up YouTube the other day, which is very well done. Got some
Thank you.
production
Thank you,
value
sir.
up in there. We got a new...
These trash bag lights are actually portable.
Oh, all
So I
right.
rigged a few of them up.
Portable.
Oh, yeah.
That's a different podcast.
Oh.
We're gonna have to go back upstairs.
Adrian, what do you got? Anything coming out soon?
Nope.
No, you're good. All right. Look for Skip Leg Day movie review. That'll be coming out probably before this airs, but check it out on YouTube. Make sure you guys go to chalktalk.tv. You can see all the episodes there. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on iTunes.
Go to Stitcher
Comment,
Radio, share it
like
with
it.
your friends, download it to your phone and listen to it in your car.
That's,
Even if people don't want to hear it, even if you have kids and we just said fuck like 5 times, just earmuff them.
that's all right.
You just tell them it's none of their business.
They're like, what's that? Don't worry about it.
It's none of your business, boy.
Your kids are going to think you work for like the Secret Service, huh? Because
Yeah.
it's everything.
Daddy, what's a nothing? Don't worry.
My boy's birthday's tomorrow, and so he asked me, he goes, you know, what'd you get me? It's none of your business what I got you. We'll figure it out tomorrow. He just looks at me like, okay, whatever.
Figured you'd say that.
It's worth a shot. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Adrian?
Getting cut, getting butt. Suck it.